what's up? This is Diesel, and today we're gonna do rebooking Bret Hart if he stayed with the WWE Part 2. Now, before I get into it, I gotta say, guys, I appreciate you guys' love for my rebooking videos. Like, I've been doing more rebooking videos for years. People want to hear me do more rebookings, and I've been kind of noticing within my channel that hey, what's up, Christian? But I've been booking on my channel, and I say booking as in, noticing on my channel that my rebooking videos are getting the most attention. So this shows me, okay, I need to stay in this rebooking direction. That's what I need to do. But and this kind of goes back to the Hulk Hogan video, WCW in the mid '90s, and a few WrestleMania pay-per-views. But anywho, yeah, like you guys been like my rebooking videos, so I'm going that direction now. I want you guys to comment whether live or in the comment section. I'm going to do Stone Cold 2001. Like that is inevitable as fuck on so many different levels. Like rebooking Stone Cold in 2001. I have. There's no way I'm not doing it. Let's put it that way. There's no way in hell I'm not doing that. But here's the thing, though, and I have a few of these written. I might rewrite them if I put more thought into it. But I want honest opinions from you guys. How do you want me to see? How do you want me to do this? Okay, so we could do continuing Stone Cold Steve Austin's heel run if WCW was never bought or went under. Rebooking Stone Cold Steve Austin as a babyface the whole time. But one version, okay, so the second option, part one, is rebooking Stone Cold continuing as a babyface, still with the invasion going on. Or number two, rebooking Stone Cold Steve Austin as a babyface, and WCW didn't go under, so it would still be the WWE. So no invasion angle, no DDP, no would stay inside the company. So rebooking Stone Cold Steve Austin as a face if WCW never went on. So which one do you want for the face one? WCW going under or no WCW going under? Christian Guerrero, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But which babyface run would you rather see me rebook? WCW still going under or WCW never going under? So keep it at WWE. Which one do you want me to do? And you guys tell me also. So yeah, you tell me how you want me specifically to rebook Stone Cold Steve Austin in 2001. Now let's get to WCW still going under. Okay, let's see what some of the responses are, and I'll figure that out when if anybody else wants to respond. But I'll keep that in mind. Anywho, because I want to listen to what the fans say because y'all like my rebooking videos. So I'm gonna continue on this rebooking streak. Give me a second. Continuing with Bret Hart, if he stayed in WWE Part 2. Owen Hart enters a feud with the New Age Outlaws and says he has a mystery tag team partner at Wrestlemania 15. WrestleMania 15, New Age Outlaws makes their entrance. Owen Hart comes out, stands at Turnstile and says, "My mystery tag team partner is my brother Bret Hart." And Bret Hart gets a huge pop. So yeah, this is his first time returning since WrestleMania 14. So yes, he takes a year off because dudes are wrestling for how long? I think he needed to stay away from the product in 1998. And Bret Hart deserves that break. So a full year, he'd be more than better, because when you look at him in WCW in 1998, his run did suck, but I do feel a part of that was his body was kind of tired a little bit. Because when you watch some of his matches, like, he was not the same guy from 1997. I'm not saying he completely fell off, but you could see that his body was a little tired. So what the WCW 1998 run shows me is he needed that break. So he takes a break for an entire year. They have a decent, not too long match. The Hart Brothers win. 3.5 stars. In Your House Backlash. The feud continues. Hart Brothers versus New Age Outlaws. The Hart Brothers win. 3 3/4, and tension starts to build between the New Age Outlaws because remember they eventually split up. No Mercy in UK. For old time's sake, versus British Bulldog, Bret Hart goes over 4.5 stars. Over the Edge. Now listen closely. If Bret Hart never left WWE and he was still there, that whole Owen Hart situation would have never had happened to begin with. So, what match happened instead? X-Pac and Kane versus the Hart Brothers. Kane and X-Pac goes over for sure. And giving what's it called? Kane and X-Pac the big rub. Anywho, Bret Hart's not in the King of the Ring card because the King of the Ring card is usually for the younger guys, so he's not on there. And okay, with me not really saying much about some of the Raw shows, Bret Hart is slightly on a part-time-ish, but on a minor level, so he's not going to wrestle every Raw. And plus, two, let's say if he did have a few matches or non-important matches that don't serve much purpose to the story, say if he wrestled, I don't know, Valvine or something like that, he wouldn't have much importance or whatever. But yeah, anywho, fully loaded. For the heck of it, Vince would make a match between, or no, not even for the heck of it. Bret, Owen, Bulldog, Jim Neidhart. They talk about some of the times what happened. While Bret was gone, some of the fallouts. So they all settle it in a fatal 4-way match, and Owen Hart wins, pinning Jim Neidhart. So 4-star match. SummerSlam. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in a friendly brotherly match. Owen Hart goes over. 4.5-star match. Unforgiven, a little throwaway tag team match with the Hart Brothers versus D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. Hart Brothers win. No Mercy versus Mankind, a little random match, and Mankind wins via Mandible Claw, but pinning though. 4-star match. And on that same card at No Mercy, The Rock versus Owen Hart, and The Rock goes over. 4-star match. HBK injured. Okay. No problem. Good thing you asked that, Christian. I think I said this in my last video, but I did say in my last video. I had said in the end of my last video for the Rebooking Bret Hart Part 1 that if I do feel in 1998 something was going to happen to Shawn Michaels, whether it was injuries, fired, backstage injuries, somebody beats the crap out of him again. Just seeing how Shawn Michaels was, something bad was going to happen to him where he sits out for a bit. So, yes, I do think that happens because you know what? I'm a firm believer in God does things for a reason and things happen for a reason. And with the Shawn Michaels back injury, Shawn Michaels needed that. Let's say that injury didn't happen. He never got injured. He probably would have died from drug overdose or something like that. Because Shawn Michaels was in a very, very bad place. So, anywho, yes, I do think Shawn Michaels would have gotten injured or had something really bad happen to him, some way, shape, or form. So, yes, I do think something would have happened to Shawn Michaels. Shortly before Survivor Series, the Hart Brothers versus New Age Outlaws in a #1 contendership for the tag team title shot. The Outlaws win, 3-star match. Owen Hart shortly after enters a feud with Chris Jericho. Armageddon. Owen Hart versus Chris Jericho for the IC titles. Jericho wins via roll-up, 4 stars. And when Kurt Angle makes his debut, he has the same match, wins. And then when Kurt Angle's walking backstage, Bret Hart is staring at Kurt Angle when Kurt Angle walking past him, giving him that One day, look. One day, Kurt. One day. So now we fast forward into 2000. And let me say this, guys. With 2000, we now have guys for Bret Hart. You know, the Radicals, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho. So with that being said, this goes back to my old video of what Bret Hart started in the Attitude Era, and I said the 2000, 2001 part, absolutely he would. So the Royal Rumble, we have Owen Hart versus Chris Jericho for the IC title. Chris Jericho wins clean, 4.5 stars. And Bret Hart is simply in the Royal Rumble trying to get the WWE title shot, and you know that he fails. No Way Out, we got the Hart Foundation, Bret, Owen, Bulldog, Jim Neidhart versus the Radicals, Benoit, Malenko, and Perry Saturn, because Eddie Guerrero's injured, so we can't do the 4-on-4 match here, which I wanted to do, but oh well, we can't do that. Well, actually, no, I wasn't gonna do it for WrestleMania either because I wasn't risking that triple threat match with Kurt versus Benoit versus Jericho. I just wasn't gonna do that. I didn't want to insert anybody either because they're as those two guys, you know, they're fresh, young, up and coming, you know, and they're well, Kurt Angle was heading into his prime, but still. Yeah, Kurt Angle's heading into his prime, but still. So No Way Out, we have the Radicals versus the Hart Foundation. The Radicals go over. We have Chris Benoit making British Bulldog tap out. Then at WrestleMania 2000, we have again first match. Yeah, again first match. We have the Hart Foundation versus the Radicals again. This time it's Neidhart, Owen, and Bulldog versus Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn. The Radicals go over again, 4 stars. And now with Bret Hart, we're going to do a kind of dream match with Bret Hart versus Taz. And Taz goes over. 4-star match. Because I think during that time period, before injuries started to really catch up to Bret Hart, I'm sorry, Taz, sorry. Sorry, guys, I had to wipe my nose. But before injuries started to catch up to Taz and they started booking him so dumb, have Taz beat, you know, Kurt Angle, then Taz beat Bret Hart, and whatever else happens there. So yeah, Taz goes over with the Taz mission. Great match, 4 stars. These two would have clicked, I felt. So we continue with Hart Foundation versus the Radicals feud. Backlash, Bret Hart versus Perry Saturn. Bret Hart goes over. Owen Hart versus Kurt Angle. Angle goes over via help from Eddie Guerrero. Both 4-star matches. Judgment Day, the Hart Brothers versus Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn. The Hart Brothers win 3 3/4 match. Between Judgment Day before King of the Ring, Bret Hart has a little mini feud with Triple H over, you know, old time sake and stuff, and, you know, like the past stuff in '97. Because now Triple H is the main eventer and he wants a title shot. So has one of the title shots at one of the SmackDowns. Sorry, they have a one-on-one match at one of the SmackDowns during the post Judgment Day before King of the Ring time period. Triple H versus Bret Hart. Triple H goes over, 4.5 stars. King of the Ring. So first thing I want to do is shorten the King of the Ring pay-per-view and have well, you know what? No, yeah, we have to shorten it because, you know, Bret Hart and Owen Hart, so you got to make more room. So we're just gonna have Kurt Angle facing Chris Jericho first, then Rikishi, and he's King of the Ring. We have Bret Hart versus Dean Malenko, 4-star match. I do believe a WWE Bret Hart versus Dean Malenko. They could have had a great match here instead of what we got in WCW. And then we have Owen Hart versus Eddie Guerrero. Owen Hart wins, 4 stars. Fully loaded, we got the Hart Brothers versus Edge and Christian. The Hart Brothers go over, not clean, but the Hardys distract Edge and Christian. So, you know, Canadian tag team versus another Canadian tag team. Now on to SummerSlam. We got Owen Hart versus Chris Jericho. And we got Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit. Jericho goes over again, 4.5 stars. And Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit. We finally get it one-on-one for the first time ever, because Bret Hart didn't go WCW, Hart didn't die. And Chris Benoit is going into the WWE title picture. So Benoit wins via crossface, making Bret Hart tap out because he's won the WWE title picture, so he's got to win. And they have a great technical wrestling masterpiece. Now on to Unforgiven. We have the Hart Brothers versus Dudley Boyz. Dudley Boyz win, 4-star match. No Mercy. Hart Brothers versus APA. APA wins, 3 stars. Now for Survivor Series. We have the Hart Brothers. For Survivor Series, we have the Hart Foundation versus the Radicals. The big 4-on-4 match we've all been waiting for. First, Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart give Perry Saturn, the infamous heart attack tag team move, eliminates Perry Saturn. Then Jim Neidhart gets eliminated by Chris Benoit. Eddie Guerrero eliminates British Bulldog. Owen Hart eliminates Dean Malenko. Now it's down to 2 versus 2. Bret and Owen versus Benoit and Guerrero. Eddie eliminates Owen, Bret eliminates Eddie, and Bret eliminates Benoit. Hart Foundation wins, Bret's the sole survivor. Ends, for the most part, Radicals versus Hart Foundation feud. Armageddon, we have Eddie Guerrero versus Bret Hart. Bret Hart goes over, 4-star match. And also at Armageddon, Owen Hart versus Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit goes over, 4.5-star match. Now on to the 2001 parts. And Bret Hart gets a little more part-time-ish. Owen Hart and Bret Hart simply in the Royal Rumble. No Way Out 2001. Owen Hart versus Jericho is another match. Jericho wins via roll-up. Post No Way Out 2001. Jericho says how he's tired of facing Owen Hart. He wants to face, he wants to face Bret. He's waited years to face him at WrestleMania. Bret isn't there. Next week, Bret Hart comes back and accepts Chris Jericho's challenge. The week after, remember that conversation Bret Hart and Chris Jericho had on Raw 2010 when Bret Hart talks about Jericho was the loudest scream in the dungeon? And yeah, just go look it up on YouTube. They have a similar type promo or conversation like that. Wrestlemania X8, Bret Hart versus Chris Jericho. Bret Hart goes over, 4.5-star match. And Owen Hart faces William Regal instead. And Owen wins, 3 stars. Somewhere in early May, SmackDown, Hart Brothers versus Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho for the #1 contendership for the tag team title picture. Benoit and Jericho win, 4.5 stars. During the build-up, Bret Hart gets attacked by some of the WCW guys and written off television for a while. Around early October, Bret Hart comes back and challenges Booker T for help, helping attacking him a while ago and taking him out. Booker T accepts. No Mercy 2001, Booker T versus Bret Hart. Booker T goes over, 4.5 stars. And at Survivor Series, Bret and Owen are simply a part of the Immunity Battle Royal. Fast forward to 2002. Again, Bret and Owen are simply in the 2002 Royal Rumble. At No Way Out 2002, for old time's sakes, it's Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect. And it's a 3.5-star matches. In all fairness, Mr. Perfect, he wasn't the same at that point. He was all right. He tried his best. He wasn't complete garbage, but he was all right. So 3.5 stars, best I can give it. And WrestleMania X8. What happens there? Bret Hart finally makes a challenge to Kurt Angle, saying he's been watching him since day one when he first came in Survivor Series 1999, Olympic gold medalist. talking about, what a great technical wrestler Bret Hart is, saying he's the best technical wrestler. And, the challenge is made. WrestleMania 18, Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Finally, I bet you guys are thinking, when are we going to finally get that match? And WrestleMania 18, we get Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Bret Hart enters WrestleMania 18. He gets a massive pop. They wrestle each other. Great technical wrestling masterpiece. Bret Hart goes over via sharpshooter. Kurt Angle taps out. 5-star classic. Bret Hart also, Owen, at this point in time, gets a lot more part-time-ish. So they're not always there because, Owen Hart said he wanted to retire around the early 2000s. How do you lived? And so anywho, after The Rock wins the WWE title at Vengeance, post-Vengeance SmackDown, Rock celebrates his title win, and Bret Hart comes out. Tells The Rock how he always saw him as a top guy from day one, then talk about how he remembers when they wrestled each other in 1997 and knew how good The Rock was already back then. Then The Rock intervenes and says, yeah, it's been too long. A little too long. And Rock says, what do you say we revisit old times, the WWE title? Bret Hart accepts. Next week's SmackDown, The Rock versus Bret Hart. The Rock goes over 4.5-star match. Good, very great match they have. I feel they could have had. And a week after Brock Lesnar versus Hulk Hogan, Lesnar's still on his legend killing streak, and he faces Bret Hart. Brock Lesnar versus Bret Hart. Brock Lesnar looks strong. Bret puts up a great fight like he always does, but still comes up short. He bleeds in the match. Brock Lesnar goes over strong. 4.5-star match. And this is where Bret Hart kind of quietly retires to make the new guy look strong. Like, maybe he does come back in a year or whatever, but I'm going to have him, silently semi-retire here because at this point, okay, so 98, Bret Hart's 43, 44, 45, 46. Bret Hart's 47 at this point. That's why I had to maybe go more part-time-ish. But yeah. With that being said, this is where he quietly retires. So no, he's not on the SummerSlam card at all. Yeah, that's my rebooking for Bret Hart Part 2. Give me you guys feedback. Tell me what you liked, what you disliked. Do you personally feel I had Bret Hart go on a little too long because of his age? Because around 2002, he would have been 47 years old. Tell me, guys, let me know what else you want me to rebook. Put in the conversation, rebook this, rebook that. I will tell you guys this, though. Goldberg post WrestleMania 20, that's going to be a little bit hard because Goldberg's a guy, he just wasn't meant to stay in WWE for a long period of time. Maybe I'll try one day, but all I can do is try. I can't promise nothing. But, yeah. Give me your feedback. Give me suggestions. Tell me what you like and dislike about the video. And, yeah. Subscribe, like. Let me know.